Welcome back. We're going to talk about something that affects a lot of Americans. Medical experts are calling it an epidemic, with numbers on the rise. More than 34 million Americans have type 2 diabetes. That's 1 out of every 10. And 88 million have prediabetes. In his new book, Take Control of Your Diabetes Risk, Dr. John Whyte says we can reverse type 2 diabetes, but the time to start is now.
And 90% of type 2 diabetes is related to obesity. So in type 1 diabetes, you're insulin deficient. Your pancreas can't make enough insulin, so you have to be on insulin. In type 2, we used to see it much later in life. Now we're seeing it more often in younger adults. We're seeing prediabetes in teens. It's all relating to excess weight. And the problem with excess weight is fat is metabolically active. It releases hormones, cortisol. It messes up our melatonin, leptin, and ghrelin, which are the hunger hormones and the full hormones. So that creates havoc on our body and our cells. And, we can't control our blood sugar. Yeah. But if you make these changes to lose weight, to eat healthier, as we just talked about, you often can reverse it.
Well, let's talk about some of the things that do and don't make a difference when it comes to trying to stop things in their tracks. The truth about exercise, let's talk about that. Some exercise is not better than nothing.
It's true. I wish everyone could do 150 minutes of exercise a week. Not everyone can do that. You start where you can, but the key is you build up. So maybe it's 10 minutes a day to 30 minutes a day. The other thing is exercise is as close to a magic pill. Remember I said type 2 diabetes is insulin resistant. Our cells become resistant. Exercise makes our cells more sensitive to insulin. So we start to respond better. And after you exercise, your blood sugars stay pretty normal for hours at the same level. That's where we want to be. And what I found in this recent study is, so people say they don't have any time. You can do 4 minutes of exercise 4 times a week, 16 minutes. Many people, their blood sugar return to normal, but you got to be consistent. And it's 30 seconds of high intensity, maybe running in place as fast as you can, 30 seconds of rest, 4 cycles, truly high intensity. So remember, exercise is going to stabilize that blood sugar. So we're not going to have that hunger that's associated with low blood sugar and our craving for carbohydrates.
So walking 15 minutes twice a week is not going to do it?
You have to sweat. That's the issue of this. Remember I said it was high intensity. You have to get your heart racing.
All right, let's talk about supplements. Can they make a difference at all?
So what I talk about to folks is vitamin D can play a role, including with diabetes and other diseases, but particularly if you're vitamin D deficient. I wouldn't just start taking mega doses of vitamins if you don't need them. There's some data for chromium and alpha lipoic acid, particularly those people that already have prediabetes or diabetes. We think it improves, again, that insulin sensitivity. Omega-3 fatty acids, there's always plus and minus on that. But if you really have trouble eating fish, that might help you because we know that diabetes is associated with heart disease. Women, it more than doubles your risk. If you're a woman, you typically don't get heart disease until your 60s. If you have diabetes, you get it in your 40s and 50s. That's one of the problems with heart disease and diabetes. So this is my point. Supplements can't be an excuse for a healthy diet, right? You can't be like, I'm going to eat all this processed food and then I'm going to take a multivitamin and I'm going to be fine. Honestly, I hear that from people all the time. It doesn't work like that.
Does this mean I have to be a vegetarian or stop eating meat or do intermittent fasting?
Not at all. I do like intermittent fasting. I do it twice a week. I think partly it's just because you're consuming fewer calories. You're compressing that time. But I tell people it's not about going on a special diet, going vegan, doing paleo, because then people only do that for a period of time and then they regain their weight. And there's this yo-yo phenomenon of up and down weight, which is probably worse. I say talk about patterns of eating, something that you're going to enjoy. So maybe you start adding fish once a week. Then you try to move to twice a week. Then you say, I'm going to have fruit every day. I'm going to have vegetables every day. And you start building in those healthy foods and then maybe taking out, as a substitution, those red meat and processed meat. Too many of us 80% go to fast food restaurants 3 to 4 times a week. Right?
I feel like when we're all eating better, there's less stress, right? But stress and insomnia is a real issue with this, isn't it?
Absolutely. And there's no physical health without mental health. So if you're having problems with stress and insomnia, that's going to affect your blood sugar. And the reason why is when we're stressed, we have these elevations of cortisol. And when cortisol is raised, our blood sugar is raised. And when we're not sleeping well, our melatonin and cortisol are all messed up. That's that, circadian rhythm, that 24-hour clock. So now our melatonin levels are too low and our cortisol levels are too high with lack of sleep. That's going to increase the blood sugar.
Okay, a lot to think about.